God is good, and with each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This is the Nathan Napalm channel, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you're interested in Pantheon related content on our march to launch. Today, guys, I want to dive deep into the developer logs that Brad McQuaid has been posting, and I hope he keeps it up because it's going to give me a lot of content to cover on this channel. But let's dive right in. So the one I want to touch on first, and by the way, these come straight off the Pantheon MMO website. I put a link so you can check them all out and read them yourself if you'd like to. But the first concern is about instancing, right? And we all have that concern, and we talked about this channel before, and it's basically, from the words of this particular person, is that neckbeard guilds are going to lock down content because it's not an instance game. Now, instances allowed for MMOs to be able to give content specifically to that group or to that raid group, etc., so that they could do the content and there wouldn't be other people around to compete with. Well, Pantheon is not going to be having all this instance content. It's going to be open world content, which I'm super excited about. It's one of the reasons that I love Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, but this does cause this issue, okay? Because a lot of people are saying that this is going to be a main concern. So Brad McQuaid's answer is, and I'm going to read this verbatim, we'll talk about it, all right? I hear you, but please remember, you don't need instancing to protect content within a dungeon or elsewhere. There are other approaches. The ones we've been thinking of require a bit more programming and more design implementation work. That said, with our latest programming hires and their huge desire to provide design and art with powerful and yet easy to use tools. In any case, dynamic threat assessment, DTA, needs to be documented further and ratified. But I can sum it up. Who am I fooling? If you are on a quest and you enter a dungeon, mobs only you guys can affect spawn on your way to the final conclusion. So instanced within the open world, okay? So only you guys will see them. Now what it will look like that you're fighting to others, maybe they can only see it once you've targeted that mob and you're actually attacking it, then they can see it. You see what I'm saying? Pretty freaking smart idea. And that goes along with the boss mob or what have you. So you can see the other players, they can even watch, while it will be dangerous if you're too low level. During this entire time, the rest of the NPC population is attackable by other groups, etc. Now the details I'm not ready to reveal. If you zerg a 20-man mob with 40 tunes, he's probably just gonna leave, or sometimes call friends. Quests, and I mean from the simple to the complex, that lead you on a journey will provide NPCs only you and your group/guild can communicate with. Other players cannot bother them. Another band-aid that is instancing helps players not fight for finite resources. The most simple answer to what is to watch the size of your world and then the population during core key hours. Then make sure there are enough resources. Don't make it easy. Sometimes a little competition is a good thing, and the whole concept needs to be a baby thrown out with the bathwater, instancing. I've experienced, I bet you have too, running to be the first group to a special spawner event. Gotta be first. It can be a lot of fun, even if you weren't the first. This is purely a content issue, and an event system issue too, potentially. But this can go too far. Players and groups become unable to work with their fellow community on when they might adventure in one location. Basically, it means that we can't create enough compelling content for you and everybody else. That means we kick our asses into gear, not resorting to instancing. Yes, it's not realistic. Players consume content generally more quickly than we can create it, but that's a universal MMO truth, not mudflation. You just have to be on top of it. Monitoring key resources, currency, etc. does at least two different items of importance. Number one, it shows us regionally, etc. who is getting what items are going for, etc. with an emphasis here on tuning the player-driven economy. Number two, this one is no fun. This is where we use the same or similar reports to alert us to who has the most wealth in the game. when large quantities of wealth change hands, etc. This will draw GMs to your general area because we need to make sure it's legit. If it's just resources, not new zones, encounters, etc., then it's much easier and we will be tracking currency items made to act as large money like jewels. But neither is instancing. It's a bit harder to implement, but tools always remain paramount. It gets low level sharing a dungeon with higher levels. It creates scenarios where you watch another group/guild and you are awestruck and vow to return to the same spot one day, more powerful and doing this quest as well. Questions are welcome. Now, this is straight up innovative, okay? Because to get rid of instancing, what they've done here is they've made these particular things that they feel like are going to cause the issue something that only that group in that particular quest would be able to see and be able to play with. And that way, if another group just happens to be doing the same thing, then they'll also, within this open world, be seeing the instances of those creatures so they can do it as well at the same time. Same thing for the NPCs that have their own instance of that NPC showing on their screen. This is a really great idea, and I also like to mention that we finally got to hear the name. I have a video from a while back where they first announced they do have a system and a plan, and the plan has a name to deal with instancing and that kind of issue and this particular problem of locking down content. Now we know that what that name actually is, so we have a way to refer to it, and that is DTA, Dynamic Threat Assessment, and I love it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a way for Visionary Realms to create this open world game and still it have some fairness to it. Now, like he says, they want there to be some competition, right? There are times where that is part of the game. That is some of the memories that we share from old school MMOs, is some of this competition type thing, where you do have to compete for resources, etc. However, monitoring it and making sure that there's enough to go around, that kind of thing, that's on them. That's on Visionary Realms if you're talking about gathering and that type of thing. And even sometimes for going against certain mobs for rare drops, etc. I mean, that's just part of the game, is that good feeling you get when this particular place you go to farm is available and you and your group are able to sit there and farm it for a while. Then other groups come, you have to share a little bit of the load, etc. That's part of the fun of MMO, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they don't need to have to worry about it from every angle. But on quests and things like that, it looks like they have a system in place, and that is fantastic news, and I'm glad to get to hear the name for it. Guys, let me know, what do you think about this dynamic threat assessment, about the mobs only you and your group can affect and that spawn just for you on your guys' screen, what you guys see, and the other players, they can watch it, but they're not going to see them until it's kind of tagged and pulled, that kind of thing. Let me know what you guys think about that and any issues you think that might come from it and all that kind of thing. And I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. And for my loyal fans, I appreciate I've only been releasing a video or two a week right now because I am moving to the great state of Wisconsin, and I've been traveling back and forth. Pretty much I'm home like a day or two a week. So thank you for sticking in there with me during these times. I should be moved here at the beginning of next month and be back to releasing a ton more videos practically every day, just like you're probably used to. Thanks for sticking with me until then, and until next time, guys, God bless and happy gaming. Listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. My friends all say I'm it's a video buffet. You can even hit replay, but please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.